Welcome to Rock Your Midlife. I'm Dr. Ellen, the Midlife Whisperer, and I'm thrilled that you're here today because we are going to be talking about why self love changes everything in midlife. I'll be sharing why it's so hard to love ourselves at midlife, what self love really is and isn't, how self love changes everything, and actually how to start loving yourself at midlife. If you are new here, welcome, and welcome if you're returning. Please do go ahead and follow and like, subscribe so that more midlife women can find the show. So, self love is really, really challenging. And I did a post the other day on TikTok talking about how the moment you realize at midlife that you've been being mean to yourself and you decide to start to change, how that changes everything. And it really does. I have to say for myself, when you choose to love yourself, you stop doing the things that insult your soul. You stop like stepping in the same old shithole and you start to attract what is truly in your best interest. Since I have learned self love and self compassion, been practicing for about 15 years, my life has totally transformed. I'm in an incredibly supportive relationship. I live in two beautiful places. My health is incredible. And I'm just having so much fun. So, you really want to grab a pen and paper to take some notes, maybe grab a cup of tea, because learning to love yourself at midlife really does change everything. Most women don't come to me saying, I need more self love. They say, I don't feel like myself. They're exhausted, anxious, stuck, overwhelmed, people pleasing, emotionally eating, or wondering where their spark went. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. In fact, over 60% of midlife women say they don't feel like themselves at least 50% of the time. But underneath all that, what you're craving, I'm craving, we're all craving is a better relationship with ourselves. So let's start talking about why it's so freaking hard for midlife women to love themselves. It's not our fault. Honestly, we have been conditioned to be mean to ourselves. We've got all of this good girl conditioning, which is like, I have to be good. I have to be perfect. I have to show up in a certain way. We learn this, from our parents, from our peers, from society. I know I was the good girl. I was the youngest of three, and I always wanted to get my parents like love and approval. So I focused on being perfect and doing everything right. Along with good girl conditioning, we've got caregiving culture, right? As women, we are taught to care for everybody else. And so this is kind of a twofold whammy because when we are taught to care for everybody else, we have no energy for ourselves. And when we do have some time and space to care for ourselves, we feel guilty because we've been taught to take care of everybody else. And then there's that perfectionism. It's really hard to love yourself. Actually, it's impossible to love yourself unconditionally if you feel like you've got to be perfect. And so many of us are trying so hard to be perfect mothers, perfect partners, perfect in our professional lives, perfect employees, perfect bodies. And it's impossible and it's absolutely exhausting. So you can't love yourself when you feel like you always have to be perfect. And, I kind of roll this into something that I call the anti authenticity trifecta. And it's really what keeps us from loving ourselves. And it's having a built in inner critic, a people pleaser, and a perfectionist. So the self critic is just the internalized voice of those early caregivers who taught us that we have to be quiet, we have to be good, we have to clean our rooms, get good grades, finish the food on our plate, but be thin at the same time, right? All of these messages we get, and we internalize these messages as kids before we're even like 8 years old because if we don't listen to our caregivers, we won't be loved and cared for. And then as we get to be adults, we still have this internalized voice, which has become normalized, which keeps us from truly loving ourselves. And what the research shows is that self-criticism actually doesn't motivate you to succeed. We think it does, but it actually undermines motivation because when you criticize yourself, how do you feel? right? You shut yourself down. Then there's the people pleaser. How many of us are in recovery from people pleasing? I know I am. I used to think if I made everybody happy, they would be happy and I would be happy too. But it totally backfired. Not only did trying to make everybody else happy not make them happy, but it didn't make me happy because the only person who can make you happy is you. So let that people pleaser go. We talked a bit about the perfectionism too. It's impossible to love yourself unconditionally if you feel you need to be perfect. And that's why I love this element of self compassion called common humanity, which really states that we are all imperfect beings. We're all trying to figure it out. And then when you make mistakes, you don't feel like something has gone wrong. You're just like, this is normal. And then these really all keep us from being disconnected from who we really are because we're not listening to our intuition. We're listening to the self critic who's always beating us up, shutting us down. We're listening to the people pleaser. So we're focusing on pleasing others instead of pleasing ourselves. And that perfectionist doesn't allow us to be our true, authentic self who has flaws and shadows. There's also a lot of midlife, issues that really expose the cost and, why it's hard to love ourselves because we're going through a lot of changes. There's empty nests, there's aging parents, there's menopause. So our bodies and our brains are changing. We're not feeling like ourselves. There's career dissatisfaction, or maybe, things are changing at career. You're being let go. I just had a client who emailed me the other day. She's like, oh my gosh, I've been let go. So there's all of these things that at midlife expose the cost of not loving ourselves. We need more support when we're going through empty nest, when we're taking care of our parents, when we're going through menopause, when we're having career issues, and really when we're looking in the mirror and frankly looking at ourselves and saying, who am I now? The key point here is that midlife doesn't create the problem, it reveals it. That old way of being where you're mean to yourself, you're beating yourself, just isn't working anymore. So let's talk a little bit about what self love is and isn't. First of all, it's not bubble baths and spa days, although that can be part of it. I love a good bubble bath. I love a trip to the spa, the occasional mani pedi. It's all great, but it's deeper than that. Self care is part of loving yourself. You're caring for yourself, your body, your mind, your heart, your spirit. But it's deeper than just the self care. Self love is how you treat yourself every single day. How do you speak to yourself? What tone of voice do you use? What's the way that you turn towards yourself, especially when you are struggling, when you're having a hot flash, when you had an argument with your spouse, or the kids aren't doing their chores, or you're struggling with something at work, or you just haven't slept well and you're feeling like crap? It's how you treat yourself, especially when you are struggling. And self love is compassion in action. Self compassion is really about treating yourself the way you would a good friend. So, again, you speak to yourself like someone you love. You offer yourself kindness instead of criticism or judgment. And you treat yourself as a friend rather than a total self improvement project. Like you're not something to be fixed. You're someone to be loved, cherished, adored, and cared for. And the thing I love about self love is it's all about radical self acceptance. It's not, I'm going to love myself someday when my 401k looks better, my bank account's in shape. I have the perfect house, the perfect spouse, everything is in order. No, I'm not waiting till I'm thinner. I'm not waiting till I'm more productive. I'm not waiting till I'm younger or look younger. I'm not waiting till I'm more successful. Your worthiness is not earned. You are worthy just because you are. And so many women I work with struggle with their worthiness. And we actually see this in the human design chart. If you are new to human design and you want to see your chart, just go to the Midlife Whisperer and you can contact me there. And I'm happy to do up your chart for you. But when we look at the heart center in the human design chart, most people, 37%, only 37% of the population has it defined. When it's undefined, we can get on this hamster wheel of unworthiness, never feeling that we're good enough, always pushing ourselves. And this really keeps us from truly loving ourselves. So now that we've taken a look at why self love is so hard for midlife women, What self love really is. It's about how you treat yourself and relate to yourself on a daily basis. Let's talk a little bit about how self love changes everything. First of all, it changes your relationship with your body. And my research on self compassion and body image really showed that practicing self compassion, being kinder and more loving towards yourself, reduces body shame, body dissatisfaction, self worth based on appearance, and improves body appreciation. What's really happening here is when you change the way you talk to yourself and treat yourself, there is less shame around your body. You just can't say those things to yourself anymore. You make better choices, not because you want to be thinner and have the perfect body, but because you care about yourself and you want to be healthy. So you choose to have the apple and the Greek yogurt for your snack instead of grabbing a candy bar and a Diet Coke. You just can't do that to yourself anymore. You say, you know what? And this is an issue I'm working on. You say no to alcohol because it makes you feel like crap and you love yourself too much to do that to yourself. So you make better choices. There's also more trust. You start listening to your body and trusting that it knows what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat. You don't need diets and meal plans. Yes, you need a basic rubric on how to eat right. And you can go to my website again, the Midlife Whisperer, and I have a eating tip sheet you can grab for midlife women that'll tell you what to eat less of. It's not rocket science, but you make better choices. You trust your body and you respect your body. You realize, oh my gosh, my body's just trying to keep me alive. I've got these 37 trillion cells that are all working together. Your body is amazing. It also changes your relationships. I know that learning self-love for me, that was the thing that gave me the courage and the deep, desire to really listen to what my heart was saying about leaving a 25-year marriage where I wasn't happy. So I left. You create better boundaries. There's less resentment because you're taking care of yourself. You're saying yes to the things that you want to say yes to and no to the things you want to say no to. So that ends the resentment. You're more authentic. You may lose some friends because maybe they don't like the real you, but they're not the kind of friends you want to have, but you show up in your relationships authentically. And that really changes everything. There's no mask, it increases your confidence because when you're you, no one can tell you you're doing it wrong. So you take off those masks and you have healthier connections. I have to say, the friends I have now are so different than the friends I had before I loved myself, and they love me for me, and I love them for them. And it's just a completely different, beautiful energy. So, along with changing your relationship with your body, changing your relationships with others, it also changes your future. Listen to that again. Loving yourself changes your future. Again, you stop doing the things that insult your soul and you start attracting what is in your best interest. There's neuroscience here. We have this part of our brain called reticular activating system, which is constantly scanning the environment, which things that are in alignment with our beliefs. If we don't love ourselves, we see all the things that are wrong with us and we attract diddly squat. But when we love ourselves, we start to see the opportunities that are going to help us grow and that are going to be amazing for us. We have more confidence. So we trust ourselves. That's the root of the word confidence is confide. We trust ourselves. We have more courage. The root of the word courage is core, French for heart. We have the courage, and courage is such a beautiful energy because it's the energy that takes us from feeling sad, from grieving, low, lacking confidence, go up that stalk of grass like the dragonfly. When it's a nymph, it becomes the dragonfly by climbing a stalk of grass, having the courage to like step out, become the dragonfly. That changes our vibration, and so we feel more joy, more excitement, more exuberance. So we also are more willing to pursue what truly matters. We look at our core values and we do the things now so that we don't have regrets when it's too late to truly change. So, how do you start loving yourself in midlife? Well, there's three things that you want to do. Number one, notice how you speak to yourself. Become aware of your inner critic. And really, when you hear her, say, thank you very much. I hear you. And then bring in this voice of self compassion, which says, I care about you and I want you to grow and change from this place of self love. So you become aware of the inner critic. Then you listen for the shoulds. Where are you shoulding all yourself? I should lose weight. I should budget my money. I should do this. I should do that. I should be more motivated. I should get more done. Stop shooting on yourself. It's exhausting. When I tell all my clients, and if this sounds like you and you want help, just go to my website, The Midlife Whisperer, and you can go ahead and book your free midlife radiance session with me. I'd love to help you. Shooting on yourself is absolutely exhausting. So you want to really take a look at, like, what are the top 3 things you want to do every day. Don't overwhelm yourself with too much to do with your to-do list. You can have a to-do list, but pick 3 things every day and just do them and get rid of the shoulds. And again, catch that self-judgment, turn it into self-kindness. So after noticing how you speak to yourself, that tone of voice, because words are like spells. What we say, what we think actually creates our reality, and you have control over that. Number 2, practice self compassion. You pause, acknowledge when you're stressed, suffering, going through something difficult. Take a moment and offer yourself kindness. Hey, I'm here for me. I got this. I'll get through this. I'll figure it out. Think about what you'd say to a good friend and ask yourself this, my friends, is the most important question. Ask yourself, what do I need right now? And then 3, after you notice how you speak to yourself, you practice self compassion, choose yourself daily. Set an intention to choose yourself. Small acts of self respect, feeding your body when it needs to be fed, going out and getting a little sunshine, a little fresh air, stretching, moving your body. Take care of your beautiful physical self. Take care of your mind, your emotions. Allow yourself to feel all of your emotions, small acts to show that you feel worthy and you care about yourself. Set some boundaries. Say no when you need no, yes when you need yes. Decide what your non negotiables are. Let people know so that when they cross them, you can say, hey, I told you I don't return emails on the weekends or after 8 o'clock. And so you've set your boundaries. And if you're struggling with it, if you're new, just tell someone instead of an automatic yes, if you, like me, are that recovering people pleaser, just say, let me get back to you on that. Or let me check my calendar and I'll let you know. Don't make yes your default. Rest. Rest truly is a revolutionary act. And at midlife, we need more rest. If you need that nap and you can take it, take that nap. Make sure you're getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Rest is really rebellion. It's so important. Get out of this hustle culture that I need to be producing 24/7. Find moments of joy. Do more of the things that light you up and less of the things that drain you. This is really, really key, particularly those of us who are generators. Again, if you're new to human design, go to my website. Just go ahead and let me know you'd like your chart, and I will go ahead and get that to you. But do more of what lights you up. That's what generators are really all about. Respond to what lights you up. So, self love isn't a feeling, it's a practice. It's something that you do every single day. And as someone who has been practicing it for over a decade, I promise you it will change everything. You'll just start to love your life and love yourself and your body, and you'll just attract the deepest, most beautiful relationships. Your life will be more beautiful and better than you honestly ever imagined it could be. So, just to summarize, you don't have to earn your worth. You are worthy. You are like a fractile of the divine. You are amazing. You don't have to become someone new to be lovable. You don't have to fix yourself. And the greatest gift of midlife is the opportunity to stop abandoning yourself and finally come home to who you've always been. And it really starts with loving yourself. So, midlife, it isn't about fixing yourself, it's about finding yourself again so that you can truly make your next chapter your best chapter. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Dr. Ellen. If you are struggling with this, please go to themidlifewhisperer.com. Also, in the show notes, I'm going to put the link if you'd like to make an appointment with me. And if you've enjoyed this, please share it with someone who needs it. Have a beautiful day and be nice to yourself. You are amazing.